Ladies and gentlemen, so one of the questions I get on the channel, especially from newer and progressing players, is all about how to farm tier 4 class catalysts in Marvel Contest of Champions. So today I wanted to make a pretty comprehensive guide detailing all of the ways currently that you can get T4CC in the game, and also talk about a little bit about some of the historical stuff that has occurred, to give you an idea of, when some more might be available in the future. But also, just as a bit of a disclaimer to some veterans, some of this information, it may seem pretty obvious if you've been playing the game for a couple of years, but again, the aim of this guide is to bring kind of newer and progressing people up to speed on all of the ways that you can get T4CC, and have a lot of my kind of personal advice thrown in for somebody that's kind of built up 2 accounts to a level where our T4CC is in very good shape. So anyway, to assist us in our job today, we have this wonderful Google document. I'm going to start off with this lingo section about kind of the 2 different types of, generally speaking, the 2 different forms of T4CC that you're going to see in the game. So you have the T4CC fragment crystals, and these are all over the place, and these are lesser crystals that contain 1 of 6 fragments equivalent to 2% of a fully formed tier 4 class catalyst. So one of the things just to keep in mind about these crystals is they may not really seem like much at first, but each one is 2%, and when you get 50 of them, that is a fully formed one. So especially doing a lot of the stuff in the end game, these can add up really quickly to boost your T4CC output. So that's pretty nice there. And you also have the just the T4CC crystal, and that's a crystal that contains 1 of 6 random fully formed tier 4 class catalysts, because for the most part, in terms of T4CC game, it is all random, much like the game for the most part. But there are a couple of exceptions to this rule. But anyway, we're going to start off with the monthly event quest, and this is a really good place to focus on for a lot of people. So doing heroic 100%, that gives you 10 of the fragment crystals, so that's equivalent to 20% of a fully formed one. Now, one of the things that you want to push for as soon as possible is being able to get this initial completion in the master mode of the monthly event quest. And if you know how to play fairly well, you can actually get this done quite quickly. And just for the completion of it, it awards you 10 for the completion, and every single chapter you do is 7 of these crystals, so it's a total of 31, which is the equivalent of 62% of a fully formed. So yeah, heroic 100% and master completion are something, if you're a fairly new player, if you're starting to, looking to get a bit more T4CC in the roster, this is a very good place to kind of initially focus on. Outside of that, when you're 100% master mode, you also get 24 T4CC fragment crystals split across each of the chapters, so you can focus on the first chapter or 2 to even further increase your T4CC fragment crystal output on a monthly basis. But yeah, really push as much as you can in master mode is the general advice there. But yeah, it's a total of 110% equivalent of a fully formed tier 4 class catalyst from 100%ing master. So some very nice there. And also via the uncollected difficulty, which doesn't unlock until you've beaten the collector in Act 5 Chapter 2, you can also get a fully formed T4CC crystal by completing this 100% every month. But if you're a newer player, this is maybe a little bit down the line, but it is something to, potentially consider for the future as well, because once you can start doing that, that is some really nice game per month. You get 2 T4CC and a little bit more on average every single month just via the monthly event. Now, the second thing we have are alliance activities, and this is mainly alliance quest, and kind of the solution for a lot of people if they want to fix their T4CC problem is to find an alliance that is running map 5 times 5 every week or above. So that means, it could be like some map 6 thrown in there as well for a consistent stash of T4CC. But this is really one of the biggest things for a lot of progressing players for making that leap and getting a lot of T4CC, because not only do you have the map 5 and map 6 crystals potentially, but you're also going to get into, if you're doing map 5 days a week, you're also going to get into the expert bracket, and that has a really big variety of ranked rewards depending on the prestige that you have. But if you're kind of up there, you're going to be getting about like 60% to 90% 100% of a fully formed T4CC every single week by running 5 times map 5. And you don't necessarily need, you know, rank 5 champions to do that. 440 champions, if you've made some good rank up choices, if you're playing fairly well, your roster should be able to handle map 5 times a week. So yeah, I've kind of listed out all the ways. You know, you get some in also Alliance Quest map 4 crystals, but map 4, it really isn't worth the hassle for a lot of Alliance, so you know, alliances, so it really isn't recommended. Alliance Quest map 5 crystals, Alliance Quest map 6 crystals, the ranked rewards that we talked about. So yeah, there's 3,500 alliances that can get a variety of T4CC fragments, and that's a total of 105,000 players, so quite a few people in that pool there. And you can also get some T4CC fragments via the Glory Store crystals, although these aren't really recommended just because there's a lot more bang for your buck when you spend Glory on either T1 Alpha or Tier 4 basic catalysts. So yeah, that's not overly recommended, but you know, if you are in kind of this very desperate state, it might be something to do. But again, just as the not recommended disclaimer there. And then we have a lot of static content which offers T4CC, and a lot of it's mainly kind of around like Act 5, but we're going to start off with Act 4 100%, and this is how I remember back in the day getting my first rank 5 champion on Seatin. This awards 3 fully formed T4CC crystals, and also every single chapter that you do 100%. Also awards something called an Ascendant Crystal, which has a fairly small chance to contain a T4CC, but I thought it was, you know, worth noting there. So in terms of, like, difficulty, that's probably one of the easiest modes of content to get T4CC, and if you have a 440 champions, you know, Act 4 100% is pretty easy to do nowadays if you can play the game fairly well. The only thing with Act 4 100% is it is very, very long and very, very time-consuming there. So yeah, if you're looking for advice on which order to do stuff, check out the progression path video. But then we move on to Act 5, and I've kind of split out all of the ways here. Let's just move this one onto the next page so we can cover it all. So we've got the Act 5.1 completion. So just initially running through that is going to give you 10% of a T4CC. You've got 5 of the fragment crystals, so not really too much there in the first one, but that's pretty easy to deal with. Then if you do that 100%, you can get a fully formed T4CC crystal, and also 10 additional fragment crystals, so that's pretty much 120% of T4CC there, so pretty nice. And then we go on to the Act 5.2 completion, which is a really, really big one for increasing the amount of T4CC that you generate, because you get 10 of the fragment crystals, so that's 20% total. You also unlock the upgraded daily crystals, which have a chance to contain small batches of T4CC fragments, and again, with all this additional stuff, it really does add up in the end. So that's a really, really big one, and it also unlocks uncollected difficulty, which, you know, we talked about earlier. If you can get that down 100% every single month, that is another fully formed T4CC in your roster there, so that's definitely something to strive toward when you're on that level. And then if you do Act 5.2 100%, that's a fully formed and 20 of the fragment crystals. Act 3 completion, and this is kind of the next big thing if you really want a lot of T4CC, is to push through Act 3 and Act 5.3 and Act 5.4 completion, because you're going to see in a second, like, the T4CC is huge for the completion. So yeah, the 5.3 completion alone is 1 fully formed crystal and 15 fragment crystals, so a total of 30%. 100% when you eventually get around to do that is 60% or 30 fragment crystals there. The Act 4 completion, 5.4 completion, is 1 fully formed crystal and also 60 of the fragment crystals, but simultaneously that also gets you the Act 5 completion, which is 6 of the fully formed crystals. So that's a really, really big one to push for as soon as you possibly can. But I do advise, like, my kind of standard pathing advice is get uncollected 100% on farm before you push for Act 5 completion, because I think generally uncollected 100% tends to be a bit easier than Act 5 completion, but it's not too bad if you can push past the collector. So yeah, some really big T4CC there. And yeah, Act 5.4 100%. You also get 1 T4CC crystal there. You've got Road to the Labyrinth 100%, so you need to do every single chapter and you get 1 T4CC, so that's not too rewarding. It's definitely something that's down the pipeline for a lot of people. And then we have Labyrinth of Legends, which for the completion of it gives you 2 tier 4 class catalysts for all 6 classes, so a total of 12 there. Very nice. And 100% gives you 3 tier 4 class catalysts for all 6 classes. So yeah, there's tons of T4CC once you eventually get the roster to kind of move into the Labyrinth of Legends. So yeah, some really awesome stuff there. But also, I wanted to list a few ways to gain T4CC that have been available in the past. So you have various login calendars, usually tied into holidays or special events, e.g. like Christmas this year, we had a holiday calendar fully formed there, and also some fragments as well. The 3-year anniversary calendar had a fully formed. We also had a fully formed in January as well. So yeah, they're getting increasingly generous with the fully formed T4CC crystals in the login calendars. And they're also, throughout the year, just a really wide variety of both cash and unit-based offers, so that might be something to save up for, you know, if you are having trouble acquiring T4CC at the moment. It's kind of your bottleneck resource. You've also got bonus monthly events that sometimes offer T4CC fragments or a fully formed T4CC as a certain reward. So I believe Trials of the King had some T4CC fragments on offer. Some of the expert difficulty, we've also seen stuff like in the past, like Dimensional Rifts, and also Rocket's Scrapyard and the 4 event, where you could pick up T4CC or kind of pieces of them as well. So yes, some interesting stuff on offer there. And also we have stuff like Celebrity Challenges, like Michael B. Jordan's, and also like Jeff Goldblum's. There have been quite a few Celebrity Challenges in the game now, but if you can get through all of these also tend to award some T4CC as well, so some pretty decent stuff there. And also, just as a final thing, just to be incredibly diligent with this guide and list absolutely everything, you can sell tier 3 class catalysts for 0.5% of a fully formed T4CC, but this is definitely not advised. It's a very bad decision. T3CC are quite annoying to get your hands on for the most part, so yeah, I would not advise selling them at all. But ladies and gentlemen, just to kind of give a recap of like the stuff to focus on if you're having a little bit of trouble. Alliance activities. Try and get into an alliance that is doing map 5 days a week, or as much map 5 as humanly possible there. Push as much as you can in the monthly event quests. Try to get to a level where you can get the collector down with some 440 champions, unlock the upgraded daily crystals, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Aside from that, try and get uncollected on farm, and then it's pushing for the Act 5 completion. And really, after this point, you should be fairly sorted for T4CC gain for the rest of Marvel Contest of Champions. So, ladies and gentlemen, I know I probably said the word T4CC so much in this video. It feels like it's all I've been saying for the last 12 and a bit minutes. But hopefully you enjoyed today's video guide. Hopefully it was a little bit useful for pointing some of you in the right direction on how to gain more of this resource. If you did enjoy the video, feel free to smash that like button. That'd be greatly appreciated. Apart from that, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I hope that you all have an absolutely fantastic day.